In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful.
Today, the dignified and honored believers of Jerusalem and Palestine once again surrendered their souls to God under the oppressive Zionist regime. The Zionists have martyred more than 100 of our brothers, including dozens of children and women. We pray that each and every martyrdom will necessitate the liberation of Jerusalem and Palestine, inshaAllah. A Zionist state that is known for its barbaric and manipulative methods has not only ruined lives of the Muslims that reside there, but also the Palestinian Christians too. Since 1948, the Zionists have brutally murdered tens of thousands of Muslims in Palestinian territories that they have occupied. They took away their land, they destroyed their houses. Palestinians have never been the first to initiate attacks. Those who attacked, burned, destroyed, and killed were always Zionists. The barbaric attacks carried out by the Zionists today will leave parents without children, children without fathers, and wives without husbands. In essence, Jerusalem, the first Qibla of Muslims, and almost all of Palestinian soil are under Israeli occupation. After the Palestinian lands were occupied by Israel, peace and tranquility gave way to tears and pain in those blessed lands. However, after the conquest of Jerusalem during the reign of Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second Caliph of Islam, and the great commander Selahaddin Ayyubi, all people and religions lived in peace and security for hundreds of years. Today, Jerusalem and Palestinian lands are under occupation. It will be the Palestinians themselves, with the help of Allah, who will end this occupation. However, we as communities can also contribute to the end of this occupation with our prayers and supplications to Allah and all kinds of material and moral support. Among these contributions, we need solid personalities like Selahaddin, a strong bond with God, and a sense of brotherhood worrying about the troubles of all Muslims. In particular, Palestinian lands must be liberated from all occupation and barbaric attacks under the banner of humanity. It is essential that we have leaders and figures like Selahaddin Ayyubi to put an end to this occupation. How and why Selahaddin won? I gathered the reasons to his success in 10 key factors. I will cite the main headings of them for the benefit of the Ummah. By Allah's permission, I hope everyone, young and old, men and women, will benefit.
Alhamdulillah, mu'izzil Islami bi nasrihi.
The first reason, the righteous generation that existed in the period of Selahaddin. Historians say that Najmuddin, the father of Selahaddin al-Ayyubi, got married at a young age. May Allah have mercy on him, due to his idea of marrying a woman who had the compassion of serving jihad, science and Islam. At that time, there was a noble lady who was not aware of Najmuddin and remained single for the same reason. When the news reached both of them, they got married to each other through learning and teaching the Quran. Selahaddin al-Ayyubi was born from such a mother and father. The second reason, the necessary conditions were ready for Selahaddin al-Ayyubi to gain victory. Nuruddin Zengi, Selahaddin's father and the first folk of Mujahideen had created these necessary conditions. All dearly respected brothers, especially my Mujahideen brothers, this cause is a cause that reached us through inheritance. Then we inherited those who we chose from our servants to that book. The earth will remain to our good servants. The verse states that it will remain. Therefore, this cause has come to us through inheritance. The second reason, then, is that this cause indicates inheritance through the conditions that were already established. The third reason, the scholars and mujahideen who are around each other. As our esteemed Sheikh Ikramah, pointed out that Selahaddin al-Ayyubi was a scholar. He was a hadith expert, a jurist and a scholar of method. He was both a scholar and mujahid. There were scholars such as Qadi Fadil and Shaykh Hakkari from the city of Hakkari, which is about 500 kilometers from Diyarbakir. There were also scholars such as Ibn Shaddad and Muhammad Amin al-Ansari. All of them were both scholars and mujahids. For this reason, we need scholars to be both mujahids and scholars. We do not need scholars who shake hands with oppressors, who are hypocrites, and who take the path of normalization with Zionists. There is no goodness in such scholars. Do not train scholars whose presence brings nothing but harm. Train scholars who will become both scholars and mujahids. The fourth reason. It was Selahaddin's leadership qualities that were evident since his childhood. When he was a teenager, he established an association in Damascus, which he named Al-Futuwa Youth. In other words, he formed a small jihad movement of young people. This association also existed until its time of residence in Egypt. He gave the members of this association the duty of protecting the borders. Agents working for the kings of that time were sending letters of intelligence to their rulers across the borders. The young people of the association were capturing these messages and sending them to Selahaddin. This situation shows the importance of the idea of jihad in the lives of young people. The fifth reason. Selahaddin's attitude of keeping himself away from properties and materialism. In fact, he was born at a very strange time. For example, as historians report, one judge could have 500 turbans wrapped from gold. These turbans were hung on hangers made from gold. When Selahaddin came, he spent all of his property for the sake of Allah. As historians mentioned, when he passed away, he left only 12 dirhams and 2 dinars. He owed 200 dinars in debt to use in the field of jihad. Therefore, the Qadis asked his successors to choose between two options. Either they would take on these debts and take the inheritance, or they would endow his heritage with the debt of the Bayt al-Mal. They agreed to the second choice. Sixth reason. Selahaddin al-Ayyubi was very keen on raising the awareness of Qudus and jihad. Dear brothers, Selahaddin al-Ayyubi worked hard to raise awareness of the Muslim people about Qudus and jihad. His ambition had reached a stage that the feeling of jihad enlightened women and children too. As a result of these awareness-raising efforts, women from Diyarbakir, also known as Ahmed, sent bins filled with pure rose oil to Selahaddin al-Ayyubi in order to clean Quds. Look at the knowledge and consciousness of the Ummah. The seventh reason. Selahaddin united with Muslims around the world for the same cause. He started by uniting people from all over the Muslim world, and this union ended up with the liberation of Jerusalem. All Muslims of the region participated in the movement to conquer Jerusalem. Arab, Turkish, Kurdish, Persian and Maghreb Muslims participated in this conquest movement. Selahaddin al-Ayyubi had shown the people that the purpose of gathering was for the defense of the first Qibla. Thus, everyone participated in this jihad. The eighth reason. Selahaddin had given huge importance to knowledge and Islamic sciences. Dear brothers, he raised this slogan from ijtihad to jihad. The ninth reason. Selahaddin started a movement of reforming the military and education fields. An example of this was that of the pigeon carrier system, which was activated in his time. He had established a communication network with pigeons. He also built 4 castles in that period. As many historians report, fire was lit on top of these castles. A message intended to be delivered through the form of smoke produced by fire reached Selahaddin in minutes from distant lands. 10th reason. Selahaddin placed more emphasis on sincerity and being expert in his works rather than beautification. Dear brothers and sisters, these 10 items that I have collected are a summary of the issues that were effective in Selahaddin's victory. By Allah's permission, if we dwell on these reasons for victory, victory will come. I believe that, by Allah's permission, we have begun to implement some of these triumph reasons. We ask Allah the Almighty to grant us the honor of participating in the movement to liberate Jerusalem. We all wish to have this honor, and this is not a distant supplication for Allah to accept.